Welcome to the BleachWatch training session. We are thrilled to have you join us today. This presentation will provide a brief overview of the program, discussing the significance of coral bleaching, how to recognize it, why monitoring the reef is crucial, and the process for submitting observation reports. Since the 1980s, researchers have noted a rise in both the frequency and severity of coral bleaching incidents. Prolonged stress leads to coral bleaching, where the coral expels its algae, resulting in a white, bleached appearance. These bleaching events have sparked public and scientific concern for the reef. To address this, a monitoring program was established to track bleaching occurrences and enhance our understanding of this phenomenon. Inspired by the successful Great Barrier Reef Marine Park Authority's BleachWatch program, similar initiatives have been implemented worldwide. BleachWatch, comprised of trained recreational, commercial, and scientific divers, play a crucial role in monitoring and reporting on reef conditions. Through their efforts, data is collected and utilized in various analyses aimed at monitoring, managing, and mitigating the effects of environmental stress on coral reefs. Additionally, NOAA Coral Reef Watch offers a satellite database that provides comprehensive global insight into the environmental conditions of coral reefs. By monitoring heat stress levels, which can lead to coral bleaching and mortality, they offer invaluable tools such as sea surface temperature monitoring, anomaly detection, coral bleaching hotspots, degree heating weeks, and bleaching alert areas. Furthermore, their regional virtual stations deliver detailed data for specific reef locations, aiding collaborators in managing heat stress and conservation efforts. These resources are essential for observers, managers, and researchers alike, enabling them to assess bleaching severity and take informed action. In the next slide, you will see how the data is presented. NOAA issues alert areas categorized into 5 levels, indicating the likelihood of coral bleaching. The graph displays the Florida Keys bleaching alert areas and outlook. Notably, this year's outlook shows a significant increase in darker colors compared to last year, indicating a higher likelihood of a bleaching event. As we move along through the graph, on the right-hand side, there's a bar with the current bleaching alert levels. Blue signifies an alert of no stress, meaning no coral bleaching is expected. Light orange indicates a bleach watch, suggesting that the water temperature has slightly increased, so monitoring is necessary as the corals might become stressed, although they remain below the usual stress threshold. Dark orange represents a bleaching warning, meaning the water temperature has exceeded the 1 degree Celsius threshold, so coral stress is expected and bleaching is possible. Light and dark red signify alert levels 1 and 2. Alert level 1 indicates that coral bleaching is likely, while alert level 2 suggests widespread bleaching and mortality are probable. Back in December of 2023, NOAA's Coral Reef Watch introduced alert levels 3 through 5, which indicate the likelihood of coral mortality due to extreme marine heat waves experienced in 2023. You may be wondering, why are coral reefs so important? Well, you're in luck, because I'm going to tell you. For starters, coral reefs produce half of the Earth's oxygen and absorb 1/3 of the Earth's carbon dioxide. Coral reefs also provide shelter to reef organisms and help protect the land from storms and hurricanes. And the final reason why coral reefs are so important? Because they provide jobs and income to local economies through tourism. Coral reefs are basically underwater cities built by countless tiny architects known as polyps. When these vibrant coral communities unite, especially hard coral, like stony coral, they create an absolutely captivating scene. Hard corals are the primary builders of the reef, and the ones unfortunately under attack. Our aim today is to discuss those types of hard corals and ways to recognize early warning signs of another bleaching event. As we mentioned before, coral polyps are a tiny animal that is related to jellyfish and anemones. It has a mouth and is equipped with stingers, great for snatching food. Coral polyps, just like plants, grow through the process of photosynthesis. They do this with the help from a type of algae called zooxanthellae. Coral polyps and the zooxanthellae algae have what is called a mutualistic symbiotic relationship. This means that both organisms benefit from the relationship. While the zooxanthellae not only responsible for the color of the coral, but also helping in the removal of waste. This hardworking algae plays a vital role in providing the food and oxygen to the coral polyp for photosynthesis. In return, the kind polyp then provides the algae a safe place to live and the nutrients for photosynthesis. This special connection suffers when corals face environmental stress. Under pressure, corals expel their symbiotic zooxanthellae, causing their skeletons to turn white, resembling a bleached appearance. These threats or stressors can significantly disrupt the peaceful atmosphere of the reefs, leading to significant challenges for these fragile underwater ecosystems. These stressors include water pollution, storms and hurricanes, an increase in sedimentation, and extremes in sea temperatures. Now, we all know that high water temperatures can cause corals to become stressed, but also very low water temperatures can cause corals to stress as well. Due to the amount of diversity of coral found at the reef, it can be difficult to identify each species. While collecting your observation, this family of coral will be our main focus, the stony coral family. Over the next few slides, we will go over each type of stony coral. Our first type of coral is brain coral. Brain coral, a species known for growing rather slowly, can live for thousands of years. The grooved brain coral, the most common type, is distinguished by its yellow pale hue or tan coloration. It also has a double valley structure resembling a labyrinth. Even though they are slow growers, brain corals can reach significant sizes, providing crucial protection to the reef during hurricanes and storms. Our next type of coral is lettuce coral. Lettuce corals are remarkably resilient to certain stressors that would typically impact other coral species. Their cabbage or lettuce-like appearance clearly explains how they got their name. The ridges and valleys created by these types of corals offer protection and shelter for marine life on the reef. Branching corals, including staghorn coral, are iconic species in the Florida Keys known for fast growth. They, alongside other corals like finger coral and elkhorn coral, have historically been essential in building the reef. However, a coral disease in the 1980s decimated the population to 3% of its original abundance. Next up, we have flower or cup corals. These corals can be found in warmer climates off the Caribbean. Flower corals develop long, tubular cups in clusters of 1 to 2 from their base. During the night, they extend their fleshy polyps to feed and then retract them during the day. Next up, we have fleshy corals. Found thriving on cave walls or rocks, fleshy corals, such as cactus corals, stand out among the rest. Certain cactus corals exhibit fluorescence, displaying a variety of green and red hues. This ability to change color is due to a protein that serves as a protection barrier, acting like sunscreen for the coral. Diverse in color and structure, resilient corals such as encrusting, mound, and boulder corals thrive in various forms on the reef. Star corals, known for their ability to grow large, play a vital role in connecting gaps within the reef ecosystem. Identified by their star-shaped polyps, different species of star coral form extensive colonies through encrusting or plating, while individual coral types typically grow a few feet wide. Undisturbed, star coral have the potential to grow endlessly. These species of coral we want to quickly talk about aren't in the stony coral family, but it is worth mentioning as they are great indicators of a potential bleaching event. These species include fire coral, paleothoa, and sea fans. In recent slides, evidence of bleaching affecting various coral types was observed. Now, what are the different phases of coral bleaching? The initial stage involves upper surface fading, where the coral begins to lose color, but only on the top layer. Following this is when the entire colony experiences color loss, though not completely. The third phase is partial bleaching, causing color loss in specific areas around the coral. Finally, the last stage is full bleaching, where the coral loses all of its color across the entire colony. While monitoring, you might encounter things that look a lot like coral bleaching, but are actually imposters, such as new growth, fish nibbles, and coral diseases. Although the local marine life is stunning, some species, like parrotfish with teeth stronger than many tools, can impact the reef. Parrotfish primarily feed on the algae that lives inside the coral, but not the coral itself. Finally, diseases can also turn coral into a white skeleton that resembles bleaching, even if the coral is recently deceased. Experts can distinguish between unhealthy and bleached coral by observing the clear boundary where living parts meet the newly affected areas. Yellow band disease, a rapid bacterial infection causing pale yellow bands or white patches, primarily attacking already stressed coral colonies. It can be mistaken for bleaching, so be vigilant while taking your observations. Next, we have black band disease, identified by a black band moving across the coral surface. It can quickly devastate coral colonies, but is treatable. White pock disease, particularly harmful to elkhorn coral, causing 88% tissue loss and high mortality rates. It results in irregular white patches from tissue loss found on the surface of the coral. White plaque disease is highly destructive and lethal, causing widespread outbreaks and significant coral loss. The most significant threat to the reef is the highly lethal bacterial disease known as stony coral tissue loss disease. Initially identified in Florida's reef in 2014, this disease rapidly erodes the soft tissue of at least 22 species of reef-building coral, leading to their death within weeks or months of infection. By August of 2022, the stony coral disease has spread across the entire 96,000 acres of the Florida reef system. While researchers are still uncertain about what causes this deadly disease, they have had some success in certain types of antibiotics that are showing promising results. Stony coral tissue loss disease is like a ninja, showing up as bare patches on the coral that grow super fast, starting from any spot on the colony. The lesions come in all sizes and shapes, giving each coral its own unique battle scars. Now that we have gone over what coral bleaching is and how to identify it, let's talk about how to submit a report. Once you are ready to submit a report, head over to mote.org/BleachWatch. This will take you to the BleachWatch homepage, which is a great place to find more information about the program. When you're ready, click on Submit a Report. This will take you to our BleachWatch form, where it will then ask you for some basic personal information. The next page is going to ask you for some information about the site or location that you did your observation. It is most important to either list the site name or GPS location. We ask that you provide at least one of these pieces of information. As you continue through the form, it will ask you about the environmental and weather conditions. This section is optional. However, the more information, the better. In this next section of the form, it's going to ask you, did you observe coral paling or bleaching on stony corals at your site? A simple yes or no will suffice. Please keep in mind that even a report of no bleaching is just as important as a report of bleaching. Although not in the stony coral family, these can be great indicators of a bleaching event. If you do see evidence of any other types of corals bleaching, please note it at the end of this report. The next section is going to ask you about the overall bleaching at the site. When you are filling this out, please remember that this is what you observed over the entire site. In this portion of the form is going to ask all about the overall bleaching at the site as a percentage. Please note as the values increase as more bleaching is observed on the reef. Once again, this question is asking about the entirety of the site and not just an individual coral species. Now the form is going to ask for more detailed information on each type of coral and if you saw any stages of bleaching. In this next section of the form, it's going to ask if you observed any evidence of coral diseases and also what those diseases are. Finally, the last step is to upload your photos. When taking photos of corals, our researchers will appreciate one photo of the entire coral colony and a close-up of the coral polyp. While scuba diving or snorkeling, having your dive buddy place a hand or an object in that photo is helpful as a point of reference for our scientists. You can upload 5 pictures per report. If you have more photos, please send them to BleachWatch@mote.org along with your name, date, and location. Please note that photos might be published on current condition reports and will be fully credited. If you don't want your photos published, please let us know in the notes section. Once again, thank you so much for your time and participation. After watching this video, please answer the review questions below to the best of your ability to complete your online training. We look forward to seeing all of your reports, and if you have any questions, please feel free to email us at bleachwatch@mote.org.